What is Solana if you had to explain it to your mom? Your mom is an engineer. It doesn't count. If you had to explain to my mom, she's not an engineer.
It's a cheaper way to send money.
Mm.
So I can explain that part. Or if she is from Eastern Europe, then you can say it's money that the government can't steal from you. That's another way you can explain it.
One of the biggest arguments of the Solana detractors is that it's a casino chain, and that without meme coins, Solana is nothing. We just talked about Solana Mobile. What are some of the other big things being built on Solana that you're proud of and that have a solid traction?
Yeah, DePIN. So this is like kind of again, people totally discounted this and thought it was dumb. And this is something that I focused on. I think uniquely out of most crypto ecosystems, I don't think anyone really paid attention to DePIN. But maybe because again, I spent a career in embedded systems and hardware, it just seems so obvious. So Helium is a really prime example. There's also XNet. And both of these projects are working on building a decentralized 5G carrier. So it's why could a 5G carrier even succeed is very much related to physics. So like 4G towers have like a 30, 40 kilometer range. 5G towers have like a 300, 400 meter range. So it's dramatically smaller. You need a much wider deployment of these things. And to go build a tower for like a big company like Verizon, it's a lot more work than for a user, like somebody at home that's like, I'm going to get this 5G cell, stick it in my apartment, just put the antenna out the window, and now I'm providing coverage. So there is this like opportunity to crowdfund stuff in the hardware space that's really kind of hard for big companies to compete simply because they're slower. So as soon as I actually interviewed at Helium, ironically enough, well, before Dropbox, it was like one of the companies that I thought joining. One of their CTO, Mark, was somebody that I worked with at Qualcomm for like a long time. Super brilliant guy. So it just made sense to me. And I spent a lot of time recruiting, like every blockchain is good for DePIN. This is like the thing is most of the blockchain work with DePIN happens outside of the blockchain. The only thing that the chain is tracking is like, each hotspot is an NFT. That's kind of how you think of it. So getting these folks on board just took them convincing that A, you don't need to build your own chain. This is what I can go spend all my time on. And two, I think what you're doing is really freaking cool. That was it. And it's awesome to see, I think Helium's at like 300,000 users now, like users that are using cellular network competing with Verizon, basically. XNet is another one that's in that space. Another one is called Hive Mapper. So if you ever used Google Street View, like all the camera, kind of those cars that take pictures of all the roads and stuff and cameras, they actually built a decentralized version of that. I think they're at like 20 or 25% of the world's roads covered. And their fidelity, like their data is actually, in some cases, like 200 times faster than Google. So because they built these cameras that are designed for taking these photos, they give them to drivers that are, the Uber driver, the whatever, the Dasher, whoever else. And there's all these apps exist globally now. It's really, really cool. They stick them on their scooter and their car, and they're constantly getting you an updated version of the street as they're doing their job and receiving tokens. And Google can't build that out. They can't build that fleet out, which is, I think, unique and cool. And like if you paid cash for this is kind of, I think, the difference. Like why DePIN works is if you just gave people money, the dollar value themselves would be kind of insignificant to excite somebody to do it. But getting a token is like is more fun and kind of feels more invested into the ecosystem.
When people say that Solana is just for meme coins, do you have the same? I mean, it's kind of like this. have the same, like, it's the fun side of your job. You mentioned before, oh, man,
fighting FUD.
Yeah, this is the same fun for you. Like, oh man, just another round of FUD.
Yeah, it's like.
Or is there a moment at which you get kind of tired of people? Every time there is an opportunity to come, they just come back.
What is the coolest app on the iPhone for you that you can't live without?
Twitter and WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And Telegram.
How much all those applications?
Probably spend more time on Twitter.
Yeah. Take all those applications combined with all the users, Apple makes almost $0 from that in the iOS App Store. The vast majority of the revenue comes from games. And the game started as literally the fart app, where you push a button and makes a fart sound on the iOS. That was one of the first games. In fact, Steve Jobs had to comment, like, we don't need 20 fart apps in the iOS App Store. There were so many of them. But the $100 billion worth of like sales through iOS, most of that is mobile gaming and kind of silly, dumb, casual stuff. I think meme coins are kind of that silly, dumb, casual stuff that pays for the infrastructure, for DePIN, for everything else.